Hello and welcome everybody to The Thing I Love Most show with myself, Nolh. I'm joined once again by my regulars on the show, Mr. Tim Leonard, all the way from NYC. How are we doing, Tim?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, buddy. And then slightly closer home, Mr. Leigh Curtin. How are we doing, Leigh?
Yeah, not bad.
Good. Welcome. Thanks for coming along. So, I mean, there's no other place to start apart from let's talk about the game on Saturday. My overall thoughts were that I thought we were a bit lucky, to be honest. I've heard loads of sort of mixed reviews about it. Pochettino himself said that he thought we were the better team, but I just think if you look at the chances that they created, you know, that Lacazette chance, especially at the beginning of the second half, Leigh, you were stood next to me in the game, and we were like, you know, if that goes in, we're dead and buried. And that almost gave me a bit of confidence because it was two like that, and we were thinking, right, if they keep on missing sitters, then, you know, that gives you a bit of confidence. I think also, at the end of the day, the game is about, you know, scoring goals. And if you haven't got the quality players to score the goals, then that's fair enough. Even if you did create the chances, you know, if you don't have a quality striker to score, then you don't deserve to win. So it's an interesting one for me. But and then obviously the fact that the penalty was offside potentially. Obviously it was offside, but I've read that because Kane actually didn't interfere with the actual ball because Mustafi pushed him before the action, then he's classed as not being offside. It's something really weird like that. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. Have you heard about that rule?
I saw that. That's the basic interpretation that I saw is that he was fouled. He may have been in an offside position, but he was fouled before he was able to play the ball. So that means that he's not offside. So the foul takes precedence over the offside.
I don't think that the oh, it's a bit of a echo going on here. Is that echo coming from your side?
No, I can hear echoing.
That might be you, Tim.
I don't know. I don't hear you echoing.
Oh, that's because we're going international. Okay, that sounds better now. So yeah, I think I'm not even sure if the linesman actually knew that because he didn't. He obviously kept his flag down. Whether that looked like because he was out of play, he looked like he was like a yard short of the line, which obviously all of the pundits mentioned on Match of the Day and on BT Sport. But you know, at the end of the day, none of them seem to know this rule. So why is that rule suddenly now coming out? But no one else seems to be talking about it. None of them were talking about it. And you would have thought they have researchers that know these things. No, do you not think, Leigh?
Well, it's the offside rule ever since it first started changing, and it's, you know, you've gone from like phase 1 to phase 2 to interfering to not interfering. I think there's even officials who are a little bit unsure about it. And the only reason he didn't put his flag up on Saturday was, as you point out, he was behind the play, and that line moved too quick for him. And so ultimately Kane's allowed to move towards the ball. It's if he jumps to head it, then he becomes offside. So because he was fouled before he could jump, technically it is a penalty, as it would be with a corner. If you pull somebody down before the corner comes across, it's a penalty. You don't have to wait for the corner to be struck. You know, you pull somebody down, the referee can just point to the spot and give a penalty. But again, it's one of these that you may well see a bit more of now towards the end of the season. As I think more officials will try and use it to kind of support their evidence when they're unsure.
But a lot of the time, I mean, this was doing the rounds, basically, and on like my WhatsApps and stuff. And I would have thought that there would have been a researcher somewhere that normally they come out with these kind of things. And the time they had to deal with that for Match of the Day, you would have definitely thought they would have somehow realised, because it's an FA rule.
Yeah, but you say that, and they only pulled it up on Sky Sports News this morning with Mike Dean. And even when they read it, Mike Dean's initial response to clarifying it goes, well, basically, in a nutshell, it is blah, 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 blah. So it's one of those where I'm thinking Mike Dean isn't even 100% sure. You know, so it will always boil down to interpretation. You know, and I think it's just it's like the old rule, isn't it? If they're on the pitch, they're interfering. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I would have hated to have obviously lost the opportunity to score the penalty, but the opposition side of things, if the referee's allowing that, that's going to annoy me because he was interfering with play. Even if he was, if the foul didn't happen, he would have got called offside.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't really change. But obviously, I'm very, very happy that it did because, it did get us out of jail. And at the end of the day, as I said before, you got to take your chances. They gave him a chance at the end, and then he didn't take it. So it was a tale of two strikers in the end. One who's on form, and one who's deadly, and then the other one who's not on form, who definitely didn't like he wanted to take it. I mean, he was stony faced before it wasn't even like he was trying to concentrate. He was absolutely bricking himself. He did not want to take that penalty.
Yeah, I think maybe the fact that he actually cheated might have had something to do with it, because he certainly wasn't fucking tripped. Excuse me, French, but he wasn't tripped. He just went down like a sack.
Yeah.
So justice in the end, karma from that point.
You say justice, and I agree with you. However, in this day and age, if you are stupid enough as Sanchez was to get tight to a player, it happens all over the pitch, and they just go down. They win the free kick, and they win the penalties. Like, it doesn't matter if he did it, if he cheated. I mean, it obviously does, but it was really stupid play from Sanchez to get tight to him. He had no reason to get tight to him like that. And if you do go close, you do run the risk of making contact. And even if he feels anything on his back, on his calf, whatever, he's going to go down. It's the last minute of the derby. We would want Lamela or whoever to do that for us. So, I think Sanchez just should have stayed away and just, seen, hopefully just blocked it out, and maybe we would have conceded a corner. But I mean, it was crazy. So let's talk about the game as a whole. Then obviously Sanchez was involved in the first goal conceding. He didn't have the best of game. Formation wise, we started with wing backs and a back three. They didn't start with two up top, which maybe, do you think that shocked Pochettino? Do you think that's what he was maybe thinking, why he went for three at the back? Because obviously when we played him in the away game back at the Emirates, there was a loads of different formation changes in that game on both sides to try and counteract what each other was doing. And I felt also that he didn't really win the tactical battle, I think, Pochettino, with this game. I think once that he realised it was only Lacazette up top, he maybe could have changed things. I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I mean, he probably should have. If Arsenal's going to come at him with a formation he maybe wasn't expecting, then it's up to Potts to make that adjustment as quickly as possible, because you have to counteract that. And to wait, I don't know what the wait was for, because like I said, if you're expecting them to play one way and you're setting up your formation to play them that way, and then they don't play that way, well, what good is your formation?
Well, he ended up going with a back four in the second half, didn't he? He swapped things around. He put Rose in midfield. So it did eventually happen. But by that stage, it was like, 60, 70 minutes gone in the game. And so it was a little bit different scenario. But I did find it quite strange because you didn't really need to have those three centre-backs back there. And we then lost control of the midfield, especially without Winks in there. I felt Winks was a massive loss in that game. I really, there was just like the centre-backs had the ball. They were the playmakers. They were the quarterbacks. But, they're not creative. And, that's not their job, really. So they were just like flicking long balls to the wing-backs who had space because it was all quite central. But they just didn't really do enough. So it was quite a strange one, I thought, tactically and formation-wise, how it started off. Leigh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think in terms of the changes or in terms of the personnel, we could start with a three, but when you look at the three that are at the back, we have the ability for any of them. We have the personnel to change formation with them on the pitch and not make a substitution. We're not asking him to make a substitution.
No.
Jan could easily slide forward into anywhere across that midfield. He could sit in the middle of the two, or he could go out left. And as we've seen as the game progressed, Rose came into the middle. And, you could have had Rose in the middle and Jan on the left, if need be. So we wouldn't have even had to change personnel, but he seemed I think it was one of those where I felt he'd worked on it and he just wanted to persist with it, go with it.
Makes sense.
A couple of hours on the training ground. But, I'm one of these fans. I'm more of the thought process. I like to see reaction sometimes and put yourselves on the front foot. If you've kind of got it in your head, that's how they're going to come at you, and they don't. There's nothing wrong with changing 20 minutes into the game. Take the initiative. That's what you got to do sometimes. You got to be a little bit brave and take the initiative. And sometimes we're a bit slow doing that. And it always, and that's always seems to be us and old Pochettino. But credit to him in the second half. He's made a couple of changes, and Rose has stepped in there, and so we've had a go. And I think after we scored, about 16 or 20 minutes, whatever was left, we probably looked like we could have nicked it. It could have gone our way.
Yeah.
I know there was nothing clear cut, but in terms of actually bossing the possession and moving them around, I mean, they were happy. Let's make no bones about it. They parked a coach for a little while during that game. Once they nicked that first goal, they did try and counter us, and they weren't obvious counters, Nolh. But as we point out, they did miss two good sitters, which so it kind of looks like it's a counter argument, but their counter attacks weren't that great. They just happened to have two good chances on the end of them, and that was it. That was almost their lot. So we missed out. We missed a chance. I think we weren't particularly sharp. We weren't at the races ourselves massively. Again, we was there. Sissoko was the engine. He was the kind of one player along with Kane that showed a little bit of heart and effort. But as I said to you on the day, you get Sissoko in those positions, he will carry the ball for you 80 yards and put himself in the most dangerous position, but doesn't have the technical ability to finish it. And whether it would be a pass, whether it be a shot, and that's just where we kind of come up short. So you want to give everybody else, you want to give the other 8 or 9 his heart and his drive. Sometimes
to be fair to him though, that shot after the Eriksen shot, that rebound, that was a decent strike to keep that down on the half volley. I mean, it was an amazing save by Leno. So you got to give him some credit for keeping it on target, because you wouldn't necessarily have thought that. It was a hard shot to hit.
It was. I mean, at the time, I thought he should have chucked everything at it. Laces, head down, laces. But when you see the replays of it, he adapted his body quite well to, as you say, put the shot back on target. So, credit to him. And
compliment from Leigh. Wow.
Hey, I listen. We go back to one of the first shows this season. I said, let's keep Mo Sissoko. I said we need him in our squad to get us through this season, and it's come to fruition. So fair play to him. I do want him to score, and I'd love to have scored on Saturday. I probably would have legged it around the pitch and got tucked out for him. But listen, it's if the other 9 or 10 at times had his heart and put everything into it, we would see maybe that little level that we're missing at the moment, because we are a bit flat. But I think
we are a bit flat, and that's sort of what I was going to come on to in a minute. In terms of we were lucky, I thought, overall, and so that chance was one of the clear-cut chances that we did have. It was the Eriksen volley that was missed. Again, he was quiet. He seems to just be fleeting in and out of games now. Is he missing Dele Alli? Has his head been turned? There seems to be all these different rumours and these hypotheses as to why, but he does sometimes have these poor run of forms. He has in most seasons, to be honest. And so is he just in a rut, you think, Tim?
I don't know. It's totally perplexing to me, because this Eriksen is a guy who he does when he's on, he does so much for the club. And he really can just make things happen and kind of be the puppet master and pull the strings and direct the offense and make things happen. And it really has been a while since he was that player. I mean, we're talking more than a month now, if not closing on 2. And obviously he misses Dele Alli, but Dele hasn't been around for weeks. So why hasn't an adjustment been made, and why hasn't he maybe stepped up and been maybe more aggressive? I would like to see Eriksen be a little more aggressive and to try to kind of make up for Dele being out, depending on whoever is playing in that spot, but especially if it's Lamela, because to be honest, I'm not sure I trust Lamela anymore. But I mean, I would like to see Eriksen kind of try to impose his will a little bit more, as opposed to he likes to seem to let the game come to him and then react from that. I would like to see him try to be maybe more aggressive, especially tomorrow, because I mean, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't want to get into it too early, but again, I would like to see Eriksen just kind of put his stamp more on the game and not not wait until it comes to him, but actually be more proactive and aggressive.
I think the thing is when he ticks, we tick. I think that's
Right.
that's evident. He is the fulcrum, and he so much comes off him creatively, and especially if you haven't got Winks in there, and especially if you haven't got Ellie in there, he's the one. He's the one who should be demanding the ball. He should be the one who is basically directing play and putting those passes in. I mean, he did score against Leicester, and he got an assist against Leicester, but he still is the same old Eriksen. We haven't seen the same old Eriksen in quite a while, and it's a worry for me because we do rely on him so heavily in that role. We don't have anyone else that does that, and that's an issue for me in terms of if he does get injured or if he does continue this run of form, then we don't have anyone else like that, and so that's concerning, I think, and especially if he does. The rumours are that he might be going to Real Madrid or whatever it is. We don't talk about rumours on the show, but if he does potentially go, then we are going to be missing out on one of our main creative sources, which is surely a concern, no, Leigh?
Yeah, a massive concern. It would be a massive concern. But I was speaking to Matt, who's obviously part of the crew as well, and I was saying, I'm looking at that team. I think. And I know Spurs fans don't want to hear it, but I think we won't have Eriksen next season. I think
I tend to agree.
Yeah, I don't think we will have him next season. And Joe, what when I look at it, you're absolutely right earlier when you're talking about he goes through these phases throughout the season where the kind of games pass him by, and somehow, some way, these games have been passing him by when we haven't had Dele on the pitch. When we haven't had Harry on the pitch, and if don't get me wrong, I'm not here hammering him at all. I love watching him when he plays, and you're absolutely right. When he ticks, we all tick. And watching him, he hasn't, if you're truly, truly world class in that position, you can go and grab the game by the scruff of the neck at any time and create at least 2 or 3 chances. Now, if they're falling to Llorente, who's blazing them over the bar, or they're falling to Sissoko, who's dragging them wide at a post, nobody can criticise you for not creating them. But I think if we look in the last couple of games, that's gone out of the game. He's just not even creating anything. So it's a bit more than just passing him by because he won't put a tackle in. He's not the one who's got to go tracking back. So the game is passing him by, and that has to be, for the other 10 players, the other 9 outfield players, that's got to become a concern at some point. But I genuinely do think that we will lose him at the end of the season, and we're going to have to look to transform anyway, because I think we go into next season and we don't have Toby, and we don't have Eriksen, and I think they will be our 2. I think they'll be the 2 players that go out the door. And I'm looking at Sanchez, and you've seen the naivety of Sanchez. His play is still there. That header should never have happened. Their goal shouldn't have come to, again, giving teams head starts, and games don't come bigger than that. That shouldn't happen. You just want him to be horrible there, don't you? You just want him to come through and actually just volley that ball. I don't know why he's heading it so low down anyway, but just volley it back up and out for a goal kick if you want to. The fans don't mind. 16 minutes into a North London derby, they'll go. You get one of the biggest cheers of the day. So that's what you do there. So you still see the naivety of him. And we need to get used to that a little bit, because he's going to be the one that we're calling for next season to be stood next to Toby, stood next to Jan if Toby goes. Because I for one would have him over Foyth anyway, because he just has the physical presence and the pace to bail him out a bit more. And then I think next season becomes a big one, because who do you get in to replace an Eriksen? When you look around you, we got Winks who can get on the ball and pass it. And to be fair to Harry Winks, he's probably puts himself forward a lot more than Eriksen when it says to somebody, say, give me the ball, I'll try and make a pass.
Definitely, 100%. He's become that player this season. He really, really has. And I think that was more than evident in his absence on Saturday, because, there wasn't that person taking the ball off the centre-backs. It was Wanyama who I thought had a poor game and looked like he was just like half asleep and just unfit. And yep. I don't know why he was.
Here's one for you both. Do you not think? I looked at it a few times. do you not think if Sissoko was standing where Wanyama was, that Ramsey would have got to the goal? I don't think he would have.
Yeah, quite possibly.
What Wanyama looked like he's running with a parachute on his back, and it was only 16 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
I
didn't look fit.
He didn't look fit. So we're making big calls in. We make
but then the other option was like Skip. In terms of he's not got experience, but you could have changed it around a little bit. Could have, I suppose, put Davies centre back and Rose in centre mid and Vertonghen on the left. But I think we're a bit short in that department. Obviously with Dembele going, so I think it's a tough one. And obviously Wanyama, he hasn't been in form for a long time. But he, I remember 2 years ago in the derby at White Hart Lane, he was the man of the match. He was incredible. But he's just, he's not at that level anymore.
I think injuries have killed him. Yeah. Injuries, I've seen him killed his season.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, overall then, man of the match for me, I thought was Sissoko. I thought he was good. I thought he was the engine, as you were saying, Leigh. But it was disappointing, and we're going to come on and talk to Dortmund about Dortmund in a second. But I think overall we should be thankful that we got out of jail.
Yeah, we're still in the driving seat. We're still in the driving seat. If we're chasing third, we're still in the driving seat. If we was to go and match everybody else behind us or better everyone behind us, we finish third. And I think a lot of Tottenham fans need to recognise that, because I think if you hand on your heart and your football, we don't have the third best squad in that league. So, look around, look at what's been done, and as I say all the time, get behind them. Doesn't matter if we're going through a bit of a difficult patch. Every team will go through a difficult patch this season, and we got to stay behind them, keep pushing them on. Dele's due back soon, and we'll maybe just get that other spark and finish strong. So, onwards and upwards.
Yeah, I can only agree with that. You know what? I saw a statistic a couple of weeks ago when you say that maybe we're not the third best team in the league, but we have the third most goals in the league, and we've conceded the third fewest goals in the league. So maybe we are the third best team in the league. and you know what? There's what shame is there in that for a team a club that has made no additions in the last year, is still basically playing all of their games on the road, since yes, Wembley has kind of become our de facto home, but we haven't played a real home match now in 2 seasons. Is it really so bad that Spurs is still a top 4 team?
That's definitely not a bad thing.
Me personally, I'm not going to say I'm thrilled, but I'm still pretty happy. You can't we shouldn't have supporters complaining about what's been happening with this club for the past few years, not even couple years. But I do also think, though, going into the new building, whenever this is, there's a rumor going around now, it might be next month, but that rumor's been going on for how many months now. When I covered the New York Red Bulls, they were supposedly building a stadium for 7 years, and it was always 30 to 60 days away. But I'm looking at it as what next year is going to bring, and I really do think, sales aside, whether Eriksen leaves or stays, I really do think there's going to be an investment this season, and I think the club and Levy and the people who control the purse strings, I think they're going to want to make a splash in that first season or the first 2 seasons in the new building, and I think that's going to be the motivation for the investment this summer. And I hope I'm right, but I kind of think that's the plan.
I hope you're right as well, Tim. I hope you're right as well. Okay, so it's time now to preview the Dortmund game, which is on Tuesday evening. We're in a very, very strange position to be 3-0 up from the first leg. I don't think anyone thought it was going to happen. I certainly didn't, especially after the first half. In the first leg, I would have gladly taken 0-0. I was very, very worried. But then we did come out and performed amazingly well in the second half and managed to get a 3-0 lead. So that puts us in a great position. Obviously, away goals do count in this competition. So if we did get a goal, then they would have to get 5. So, and I always fancy us to score in any game. I always do. And it's only been recently, I think the Chelsea game, was that we won, we didn't. I think Man City this season as well. So it's, you know, we're pretty potent. So I'm confident that we will get a goal out there. So I'm still confident that we're going to go through overall. But saying that, you know, if we do make the kind of defensive mistakes that we have been doing this season, in the first 20 minutes or so, it may go, you know, there's a worry. There's a worry for me. But I still, like I said, overall, I think we're going to score. I think that's the main thing. And I can't see them getting fired. But I mean, you know, Sanchez's 2 mistakes at the weekend it's just evident. Trippier's mistakes the other day as well, you know, against Chelsea. These are like catastrophic errors that you can't have in big games. And they seem to be becoming part and parcel. And that's the most worrying thing for me. We used to be defensively so solid. You know, we used to really, really be rock, and something has changed, and I don't even know what it is. So let's just talk about the game. And obviously, do you think he's going to tell them to sit back, or do you think he's just going to say, play your game, try and get a goal, you know, play normal, Leigh?
Well, I think we sat back. I think we sat back a little bit in the first game at the start, and then I think we realised that we probably gave them too much space. We gave them too much space, and we gave them too much respect. So I think we probably will go into that game the way we did at Wembley. However, minus the respect and minus the space. I'd like to think that's the case anyway. I don't see any reason to change the way we set up. I think I'd set up exactly the same. But I would make sure that we're on the ball a little bit more in terms of, you know, shutting them down. I wouldn't be giving Sancho that much space to build up a head of steam when he's got the ball. You know, I'd be ensuring that I'm doing coaching sessions tomorrow morning on shutting the space down while the ball's travelling towards him. Don't let him have that second touch. First touch, second touch, and next minute he's standing you up and running at you. That's where all the bother came from. And like I said in the previous show, at 19, he looked to be their main outlet for that particular game. So you can tell they've done their homework, and you can tell that, you know, at the back, we're not the quickest. So they will look to do us for pace, I think. And so we need to be on the ball there. But I would set up exactly the same and just make sure that we're shutting them down quicker. So I'd probably pack out the midfield a little bit more in terms of the way we move it across the pitch together.
So if Winks is fit, he's in there with Sissoko. And then obviously at the back, would you go for the 3 centre-backs that started against Arsenal? Would you bring Foyth back in? Obviously, he was the one who started the Dortmund game at home, and then we had Vertonghen was the left wing back. What would you play in terms of?
I'm going Davies.
Wing back.
A wing back. I'd go Rose as the wing back, and I'd go Davies. Jan, and Toby as the three. Sorry. I'd leave Sanchez in for pace. Sorry.
Okay.
But if I had to have a free, I'd happy to bring Davies in, and I'd go Jan on the outside again if Rose wasn't, you know, if Rose came on and make the impact change, you know, in terms of giving us legs, it's possible. But I'd probably go as we were. I'd probably go with Rose and then maybe the 3 that we've seen on Saturday. And I think he's going to change. You know, I think he'll go Aurier on the right.
Yeah, well, Trippier hasn't travelled, so.
Oh, he hasn't.
No.
Okay. So I think he'll go Aurier on the right.
Dyer potentially could come in as well. I mean, if Winks isn't fit, then that surely has got to be the sub. So he has travelled.
He's travelled.
That's good news. I'm glad he's back on the scene. Actually.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Tim?
I know that after the first leg, I know you guys were not real happy with me when I said we're definitely in the quarterfinals, and after the last 3 matches, I'm starting to get a little nervous. even with the 3-0 lead, you know, what I would love to see is for the lads to score in the opening 15 minutes, and if they do that, the game, it's all over. But I think we all know that that's not going to happen.
Hang on a minute.
The thing that got me nervous is if Dortmund scores 2 goals, and then it's what do you call it over there? Squeaky bum time, I think.
Yep, we have that. Yep, that's the one. Yep.
That's my concern. Is that Dortmund gets 2, and then we start running around and just scrambling and just kicking the ball away and just completely get away from our game. But what I would like to see, I would love to see Mora play this game. I think that he brings a certain level of ball control that I would like to see us have against Dortmund. I would love to see Sonny in there as well. I almost, if I'm Poch, I have to give consideration to not starting Eriksen and bringing him in off the bench, because like we've been saying, he really hasn't played very well in the last month and a half or so. Mm-hmm. So do you keep putting him out there just because he's supposed to be one of your best players, or do you actually react to how he actually has played in these last 6 or so weeks?
He's very rarely done that, though, hasn't he, in his time?
Right.
You know, he's very rarely dropped players on form, because they normally do. And Eriksen, you know, has done this in the past. They do normally come good, and so you lose rhythm and within the team. But I know what you're saying, and obviously we are you know, we are very lucky. We talk about our squad. We are lucky the fact that we do have, you know, Mora and Lamela who can come on and or could even start, and they're different types of players to Eriksen. Though I think that would be the thing for me in terms of, like, you know, set pieces. If Trippier is not on the pitch, which he's not travelled, so you need someone who's going to take set pieces, and obviously he's not been amazing at those, but still he's one of the people who you would want to be taking the set pieces. So, you know, he is the creative drive, so to speak. And I think if you put Mora in instead of Eriksen, it would be quite a different game. I think quite a different system that we'd have to play. So I can't see that myself, but I'm hoping Mora does get some time, because he's done well in the few games when he's played in the Champions League, and I think he also just needs a bit of running the team, really. You know, he was very unlucky with that volley in the first half.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if that gone, then it would have been quite a different story, I think. So it's going to be an interesting one. So obviously we're not you know, doomsday merchants. We're not saying we're going to lose at all.
No. I still don't think we will, but I think it's going to be a little nerve-wracking.
It definitely will be. It's also my birthday as well, so I'm hoping they're going to give me a little birthday present. So fingers crossed. And a goal in the first 15 minutes, that would be sensational. So in terms of predictions, what are we thinking then? Tell me your scores, lads. Tell me your scores.
Really?
Yes, really.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, got to go 2-2.
2-2. Okay, good.
Got to go 2-2.
I like it. Nice and positive. Okay. I can certainly see that happening, to be honest, thinking about it in my head now. You know, defensively they are far from great. And, you know, they lost at the weekend. You know, they're not in a great run of form. So, yeah, I mean, I can see 2-2. Tim?
I can see 2-1 for them.
Yeah, okay.
And sounds like my still prediction. Get through, so
absolutely.
No
absolutely, 100%. Okay, yeah, well, I'm obviously going to go for 2-1. I don't agree with it. It's now quite boring, actually, at the moment. But, yeah, I'm actually going for 2-1 the other way. So I do think we'll also lose. I might even go 1-1, you know. Cheeky 1-1. No, 2-1. I'm going to say 2-1 Dortmund as well. So, but yeah, fingers crossed. It is just that, and then we do get through, and then on to the quarterfinals, whoever it may be. I can't wait for another European away day. So fingers crossed, we do get ourselves over the line. So yeah, let's do it, boys.